There are two bills in the Illinois State Senate which could make breakfast and lunch free at school. One bill would direct the State Board of Education to reimburse local school districts so they can provide free meals to all students. The other would create a grant program giving schools up to $7,500 to create a breakfast after the bell program, feeding students breakfast during the school day.
We know kids do better when they have something to eat. Their attention span is better. Their math score is better. There's a decrease in truancy. They show up for school.
The free lunch bill would cost about $210 million a year, according to the sponsor, State Senator Laura Ellman. Illinois wouldn't be the first Midwestern state to offer all students free lunches. Michigan and Minnesota recently passed similar legislation.